We are live.
Again.
Welcome to Season 2, Session 0 of our Sea Dogs GURPS campaign. I am Gigermann, today's GM,
Reshare the map.
after some technical difficulties.
Let's make sure it actually is working.
Yes.
Hey, it's starting to work.
All right. So for anybody who happened to be watching, yeah, and now they've written all over it.
It's Mark. You can ignore it.
I think you can actually lock it so players can't do stuff.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I probably wouldn't notice until it's too late. Yeah, so I will begin with the recap of Season 1. And for
There was a boat.
potential recording purposes, we will put up the slapboard here. So, the campaign began on January 1st, 1725 in Kingston, Jamaica, with John Hayden shooting a man in a duel of honor on the beach, followed by Sir Randall getting word of the location of a man called Old Tom, who lives in the country in Jamaica, and they went out to visit him and rescued him from would-be assassins who were hired to kill him by some man known only as the guy at the docks. The Old Tom told Sir Randall that he told him how to find the coin in the sunken governor's mansion of Old Port Royal.
The race was on.
And that was Session 1. Session 2. Let's see. Yeah, I really should have practiced this a couple of times. Now we're going to have to cut it up.
Do better.
That sounds a lot like a lot of work, so we're not going to have to cut anything.
So the next day they went out and dove in Port Royal to find the coin, and succeeded eventually after some shenaniganry, while Article Spencer and John Hayden started the preparations for the voyage, gathering the crew and provisions and that sort of thing. And then after doing some planning for the voyage, they decided to stay the night on the ship. And overnight, the ship was attempted to have been arsoned, if that's a word, which they prevented. And La Dame Blanche, Sir Randall's rivals, was also attacked as similarly by an unknown source. So in the morning, they did some more shenanigans to delay La Dame Blanche departure while they took off and headed towards Ilavash, where the compass that Captain Morgan had hidden in the bay was supposed to have been hidden. Damn it, words. All right, I give up. I'll just go through it. All right, so they got to Ilavash and lost La Dame Blanche in the process, and went ashore, found the compass just in time for the rumjack to appear in the bay and approach, at which point they decided that they could neither fight nor run effectively, so they decided to receive their new guests with some politeness, I suppose. Handsome Ned was the leader who came up and basically said that he had to kill everybody because they knew about the treasury. And before anything could be done about that, a black-haired white woman came crashing out of the jungle and ran into the sea and started swimming out to the graceful dame. Followed shortly after by a gaggle of angry seamen who immediately were fired upon by Handsome Ned's men, and a fracas ensued, during which the PCs buggered off.
And Handsome Ned was shot in the head by Randall.
And Handsome Ned was shot right in the forehead by Randall and left for what must have been dead. Surely he should have bled out.
Brain scramble.
Let's see.
Fatal headache.
So after escaping that situation, and the rumjack was delayed by having to unbeach itself in order to give pursuit, the PCs escaped and continued on toward Santo Domingo.
Also, they had a serendipitous explosion on their deck.
There may have been explosions. The trip to Santo Domingo took 3 or 4 days, and they were accosted by the Guardacosta on the way without a real incident, fortunately for them.
The who?
Guardacosta, the Coast Guard. More about that some other time, though.
Right, the Spanish Coast Guard guys.
Yeah. So they arrived late at Santo Domingo, I seem to recall, and then went ashore in the morning to do their business, where they were going to buy some provisions. And Furlong knew this place relatively well and wanted to introduce everybody to Mamacita at the Mermaid's Tail, which turned out not to be a brothel, like everybody expected.
Point of order, you're throwing out a bunch of names that I don't know if the new people have any idea who you're talking about.
Probably not.
So it might be a good idea to throw up that image of the crew.
Yeah, that'll... Yeah. Damn it.
Super Rusty GM.
You're making me stop and do things.
It's Mark's fault.
Break out the WD-40.
Was that not here? Where did I put that?
Crew of the Graceful Dame of Kingston. I see it. I just can't share it.
Well, I'm looking through my... Right. I put it in characters, not in the ship. Should probably be in the ship.
Why? It's a bunch of characters.
Well. So,
Hey, Brian already pulled it up.
at the Mermaid's Tail, Furlong ran into an old friend who needed help getting out of town because he was had escaped the noose, and after some back and forth trying to help him do that, they got him out of town and found his crew's camp. He was a highwayman, and his crew had basically turned him in and were surprised to see him not hanging. And so a fight broke out and people were killed. And the guy, being a rather depressive sort, decided to turn himself in. The next day, let's see. Right, because you were going to start. You were starting to set sail on a Friday, and somebody stopped you from doing that.
And then we got a priest to bless the boat instead.
And we got a priest to bless the boat instead. That's right.
I might have read the stuff today.
Okay, so the next stop after Santo Domingo was Barbados, and that was like a 7-day trip. And during that 7-day trip, a large naked man flopped up on deck, glared at everybody, and then jumped back off again.
Mermaids.
Which
No,
Payne
he's a
still
selkie.
thinks is a mermaid.
Mermaid. Merman. Merman.
Along the
Selkie.
way,
Merman.
they also ran across the Princess Mary and hailed her for news, which didn't seem like a big deal at the time.
It's man.
And then they arrived at Barbados, where Divino started his business of trying to find out the previous owner of the gun.
For the newbies, he has a really big gun that he stole from somebody.
And at the end of that session, they spotted the Rumjack arriving in Barbados, having apparently followed them there. After that, Divino's research got the name of the previous owner of the gun as Dara Campbell, and some incident with what they referred to locally as the Devil's House. So Divino grabbed a few of the others and decided to go out there and investigate.
That was good times. That's the spider lady.
Where they met a spider lady who bit Article, and
Everybody freaked out but Article, who just embraced his inner Britishness.
and admitted to having consumed Mr. Campbell, but also said
Spider
that
lady, not Article.
said yes, and also said that the gun has a particular destiny. Meanwhile, Captain Hayden ran into a less than friendly acquaintance as the captain of His Majesty's frigate Pelican, and tried to make up for old times, which will become important later. As everybody started to work out what to do about the Rumjack being here, they were playing it cool and decided that they would continue on to St. Kitts in convoy with the Princess Mary, who had also arrived at Barbados. And Hayden arranged with the captain of the Pelican to form a discreet escort and flank around the islands to the north to catch the Rumjack in a compromising position so that they might be arrested.
Because they're
presumably
totally
for
just going
piracy.
to randomly surrender.
And over the couple of days' journey north with the Princess Mary in convoy, having stopped briefly to render aid to a foundering ship, They did eventually encounter the Rumjack at the appointed place, but also encountered a ghost ship. And after the fog cleared, literally, the Rumjack crew was dead, and the Grace was not.
Yep. It's very creepy.
The Pelican took possession of the now emptied Rumjack, but did allow the Gracie crew to abscond with 4 4-pound guns, and they also came away with an English code book that the Rumjack should not have had. Let's see, that was that one. So, St. Kitts did get there otherwise without incident, and there they met a man in a gibbet who was there for apparently for grave robbing, and helped him get out of his legal situation on a whim, basically.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Was there a reason
I don't
why
think
we
he
helped
offered anything. He just said, "Hey, you mind?" And afterward, he decided to pay for passage to the west. And as the Gracie happened to be headed in the general direction of Port-au-Paix, he figured that was probably good enough, so he did so. Let's see. The trip to Port-au-Paix took a few days, and at arriving, Lieutenant Rogers was really excited to go to this body house that he knew about. And when he did, he ran into an old acquaintance of his from his spying days, Wilhelmina Deering, who, after surprising him with a marriage proposal, tongue-in-cheek, got him to accompany her to a party thrown by a local plantation owner, where she needed to get a letter from an English spy who, during the party, ended up getting murdered, and they had to go chase after the murderer. But they recovered the letter, and later on, Wilhelmina informed them that this was an important letter about the future of peace between Spain and England, and bade Rogers deliver the letter as if it were legitimate when he gets to Havana.
And it was in Greek, so I had to translate it.
That's right. I forgot it was in Greek.
I didn't.
Also, while at Port-au-Paix, Sir Randall and Article Spencer accompanied the formerly gibbeted Geoffroy de Salomon to what ended up being a duel with some other sword-wielding fellow who he killed in a rather spectacular fashion and cut off his head with lots of lightning and great winds and explosions.
And then he wouldn't explain any of it to us.
After which, during some of the downtime, as Geoffroy decided to continue on with the crew for until they get to Nassau, he taught Article a little about magic and explained some things about the book that he had.
And it totally won't come back and bite you guys in the butt later.
Not even a little.
Having the madman on the boat be the wizard is a brilliant idea.
Also, Captain Hayden, his health condition started to deteriorate a little bit around that time.
Technically, he should have died, according to rules as written.
So the next morning, they set sail from Port-au-Paix for Nassau, and they came across an English schooner that was having some difficulties, and Geoffroy decided to go with them to Bermuda and bid the Grace farewell. On to Nassau. I completely forgot about the... Damn it. The graceful dame...
Damn it.
The crew had picked up a letter at Barbados from a guy named Atwell, who was it was supposed to be delivered to a Reynard Adler here in Nassau, and so the crew delivered this letter once they arrived here, and the man, after reading it, asked if they wouldn't mind helping him go save a damsel in distress, which they did, and a firefight ensued.
Gentlemen.
And during the firefight, Lieutenant Rogers and another of the crew were shot, although not mortally.
And everyone was greatly disappointed that my surgery rolls were so well, turned out so well, because we wanted to see what would happen otherwise.
And the damsel was rescued, so success. But they were laid up for about a week in Nassau, recuperating from their wounds, during which a couple of things happened. One, Hayden found out that the guy he was looking for to talk about the location of his son was in Harbor Island, and so they planned to divert to Harbor Island next. And also, the La Dame Blanche arrived at Nassau to meet with a Captain Morgan expert, which Payne was invited to go along, and discovered that, by all appearances, this happened to be Handsome Ned.
Even though he'd been shot
Dead.
Even though he very much should have been dead.
You shot poorly.
Apparently. Handsome Ned wasn't supposed to be that handsome at that moment.
At the end of the week, people were recuperated enough that they could travel again, and the Grace made for Harbor Island, about a half day's sail, and met with Mr. Friendly, who informed Hayden that his son had been captured during the war and had escaped or something, and was possibly, or someone that knew where he was in Old Providence.
Your princess is in another castle.
Indeed. And during the night, as the wind started to whip up, they heard a whistle from outside Friendly's place and discovered that Dora had been captured and was being carried off in the middle of the night.
Dora, for the newbies, is the dark-haired white chick that we rescued way back when. GM
Which
never
probably
bothered.
could have used a bit more explanation.
It might have, yeah.
She's an explorer.
She's
a
really
mute.
explorer.
She has a map.
And then a backpack.
And that's basically where we left off. So, that whole spiel was about a month and a half of travel time. And when we pick up, we will be picking up right where that left off.
Probably in a chase. We got to rescue Dora.
So,
Swiper, no
given that I did
swiping.
a pretty crappy job of the recap here, I expect Nosh may have some questions.
Just Nosh? What about Mel?
Well,
She might have questions
She's actually
too.
been reading the blog.
She might still have questions.
Well, she can ask them too.
So, where on this map are we currently located?
You are at Harbor Island, and there is a marker, and it is over there. Oh, somebody already.
I see it. Thank you.
Did you actually share that?
Did I not? I think I unshared it and then shared it again. Or whatever. Now I'm not showing everybody has it.
I've got it.
Whatever, moving on.
Right. We're up there. We're in the Bahamas.
So,
Get
stuff
rum
we
and
need to,
Coca-Cola.
we need to acquaint the newbies with the situation.
Weird crap is going down.
I re.
What?
He's being
speaking
weird.
Australian. He's speaking Australian again.
That's just like upside down English, right?
Maybe.
Damn it, I lost my picture.
I'm a harbour. That's upside down English for the Bahamas.
Right. I'm totally not stepping away from you. Looking at you like you're a crazy person. Honest.
Well, I guess that'll do. So, never mind the TBD part of that because it's not TBD anymore. We already figured that out.
TBD. We should have named it TBD, with something, B something, D something.
Too late. Okay, that's going to bug the crap out of me. Where the hell did it go?
Not where you're looking.
Obviously.
I'm totally not helping, am I?
No, you are not.
Ah!
Well, I got lots of pictures of the ship, but I don't want to go through it. So, one thing I will mention to everyone is that we have a wiki for this, and I've put a lot of this stuff on the wiki. So, pretty much anything that you need to know, I may have a wiki page for it.
Do you know what I need to know?
Do you want to share the link to the wiki?
I might.
It should be in the main boilerplate thing.
Yeah, it's on the chapter
Yeah,
2.
the title card that Mark is, going crazy with.
And when the video eventually ends up on YouTube, it'll be in the description section. Or at least it should be.
Or they can just, watch the previous session.
Right.
Hey, that's our boat.
Having a difficult time braining today.
That's not good if you're the GM.
It usually isn't, no. So a handful of things for the noobs to consider while you're orienting yourself about the ship. We have a procedure that we go through for the sailing process.
Which none of us are going to remember because it's been 3 years since we played
That's
this.
fine. It's not unexpected. Where did I put that? This Fantasy Grounds Unity thing is driving me nuts because everything's in different places than I'm used to.
Remind me after the session to show you a trick that I learned.
Okay. Anyway, so the deal is every day while you're actually doing the sailing, we're going to be doing a number of these rolls. It was a little clunky at first, but as we were going on, we started to kind of get the rhythm of it, so it doesn't take as long as it used to. But the idea is that all these bits and pieces that need to be accomplished during the sailing day, somebody's assigned to make these rolls. And so you'll have your thing to do, and then we'll do it in sequence. And as long as everybody's paying attention, you can actually get through these things relatively quickly. But the purpose of this is deliberate. The fact that we're going through all this crap on a per daily basis because, it's sailing. It's supposed to take a while, and it could be tedious. So treasure maps. I don't know how much you guys have read into the treasure map thing, specifically the noobs. Basically, the way that works is everybody has identified a thing that they're looking for, and a couple of instances of where clues how to get to it are. And
Turn down my offer of hooker and blows is the thing I'm looking for.
that was a little too easy. And behind the scenes, I am making a 3d6 rolls, or actually, you guys are, kind of like a secret. And when that triggers on a 6, then something relating to that story thread will happen. Sometimes it happens behind the scenes and you don't actually see it. Sometimes you encounter it in the game. But that's how the everything moves. So this is the only campaign there is to this. So there is no Lord Quest Giver. There is no patron or anything like that telling you to go here and there. This is all based on the PC's decisions about where they want to go right now and what they want to pursue.
Righto.
Let's go to Spain.
Ooh.
España.
Let's mess with the GM's plans completely and we'll go to Spain.
It's going to be bad enough as it is. So, to recap everybody, just for the noob's sake, Rogers has a painting that he has discovered is referencing the Amazon River, and there is a treasure somewhere on that, and he's trying to find clues as to where the painting came from so he can find out what it meant. Rogers has not spoken to anybody about the nature of the painting, or actually the painting itself. He's basically just said he was looking for a guy who was supposed to have been living in Port Royal, but ended up moving on to Havana. So his next stop is Havana. Sarandel is looking for a
Treasure of One-Eyed Willie.
treasure cache hidden by Morgan and he knew the location of a coin that was supposed to help him get to the compass thingy, which he has recovered, and is now headed toward Campeche to find the actual treasure there.
To Campeche.
And I was musing today, I don't know if Randall's actually mentioned Campeche to anyone. I don't remember if he did. I don't know that you didn't.
I don't recall. I don't know why he wouldn't have, but I mean, I think right now we were just dealing with what was dealing with right now.
I kind of assumed
Because
that
I know we
he
put it on
had,
the.
but
I know we put it on our plots, like where we
Yeah.
would like to swing by. So that might have come up as we were discussing our route. But I don't remember if Campeche came up after. Yeah, it had to have come up after the finding of the compass and utilizing it.
yeah, no, that's true. That he would have known that that's the next stop on his trip, so he would have had to tell everybody around then at least.
Right.
Okay, so next one is Hayden, who he discovered that he had a son that he didn't know about, and that son was somewhere in the Caribbean. And the only clues that he had was the name of the ship that he was on that was captured, and a location of a good friend of his that happened to be in Harbor Island.
Also, Hayden's terminally ill, so he's looking for his replacement character.
Shh, don't tell them that.
And as stated in the recap, Mr. Friendly pointed Hayden toward Old Providence, which we haven't discussed yet. Claude has a golden skull that she stole off of Monsieur Boissonade.
It should have been a crystal skull.
No, it shouldn't have been a crystal skull.
Absolutely
And
should have been a crystal skull.
this skull has caused him, her, and I still have problems trying to decide which pronoun to use. He knows, she knows that there is another one out there, and there is an indefinable pull toward it when she's holding the skull, and it also gives her some weird dreams sometimes. More on that later. But
How big is this skull, by the way? Is it like hand-sized or like a full-size skull, or?
a little bit less than hand size, I think. I don't know if I actually defined the size of that thing. I think I may have had a picture around here somewhere. I can't remember if I had it or not. But anyway, yeah, the player buggered off, so I didn't have any reason to develop it any further.
Okay.
But there'll be more on that in a bit too. Spencer is looking for.
Best character in the game, by the way.
Mm-hmm. He is trying to rescue his wife from a fairy prince, and in order to do that, he needs to be able to command the Master of Crows to release her, or he needs to summon the Master of Crows so he can command him to release her. And in order to do that, he had to find a witch to tell him the next steps, and what he determined was Port-au-Pay. So that was why they went to Port-au-Pay.
And just so everybody knows, that's currently listed as a delusion. So we don't know if the fairy prince actually exists or if I'm just crazy.
Or if his wife actually exists.
She might not exist either.
But let's see, what was it after that? She said that she told him that there were 2 other copies of this book of Irish folk stories, which turns out to be some kind of a grimoire. And I don't think she gave him a location of them.
No, because he has serendipity, so it's
Right.
gonna trigger when you need it to trigger.
So, a bit more on that later as well. So those are the treasure maps, and that is.
You forgot one, but he's not here.
Oh well, Vino's not here. Yeah, that's what happens when you're not here. Davino has the gun, which is this gigantic wall gun that has the ability to kill anything, even demons and whatever. If you're familiar with Supernatural, it's basically just the Peacemaker,
The
an
cult.
earlier version of it, the Cult. And in his case, he's not actually looking for anything. Everything is looking for him. And at this point, he was interested in finding out where the gun came from and learning more about it. So he went to Barbados to track down the owner. After that, I don't actually know what he wants to do. So he may not have any destinations in mind at the moment.
What? That's right. We're talking bad about you, Andricus, because you're not here.
He might be showing up. I finally got some
What was that?
response, but he hasn't said when he's going to make it.
Does he have an excuse, or is he just like, oh yeah, whatever?
Newlywed stuff. Not in
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, but
Sure, whatever.
All right, so that's the basics of the treasure maps and the expedition. You can see on the big map, the magenta line is the itinerary so far, starting from Jamaica and ending eventually in Campeche. We'll be discussing what goes beyond that in a bit as well.
First, we gotta rescue
So-
Dora.
For the noob's benefit, I do hope eventually to get into some ship combat. However, first off, your ship
I
is
don't wanna
very
get into
small and is not heavily armed.
hey, we got those bigger cannons.
You got bigger guns than
Which
you
are
had,
still crap.
but
Better than what we had.
if/when the ship combat actually occurs, I will be using a separate system to manage that, which I had planned to allow that to interface with GURPS a little bit, and it should work out, but I haven't really had a full test of it yet. Although I have played that game at Gen Con.
Was there not a ship combat in one of the pyramids?
I don't recall one, but I'm sure it was some kind of mass combat thing if there was, which is sometimes acceptable. But anyway, another note about this campaign: there's no magic healing. So if
Not yet.
you get injured, you got to heal up naturally, and surgery could just kill you just as easily as leaving the bullet in, unless the surgeon rolls really well, like has happened. So specifically in the case of Lieutenant Rogers, you may have noticed that you are not at full hit points right now, and that is not a mistake.
I saw that.
I don't know if that's correct, though. I think he may be higher up than that. I'll have to check.
He should have recovered his fatigue, though.
At least.
And that would be the same for Randall.
Yes. Yeah, probably. So be aware of that. That basically, like the ship combat situation, you definitely don't want to go charging off into a melee haphazardly.
Or maybe you do.
Another thing for you guys is currency. So basically, after the campaign started, GURPS don't mean anything anymore. Everything's done in Coin of the Realm here. And so you won't be able to look up the prices of things that way. Now, I do have a pricing bit on the wiki, so you should be able to at least get a pretty good idea of where you stand. And there are multiple currencies involved here, so there will be some confusion. Don't sweat it. Everybody else is confused too.
Especially the GM.
You do know that there was a recent update for currencies where you can actually put the coin weight and its value.
I knew
not
about
know
the
that.
weight, I think. I didn't know about the value, though.
Yeah, if
I
you go
guess
to
it really
the
doesn't
options,
particularly matter in my case because I was running a game where it's like, how much money do I have? I don't know. How much do you have on your ATM card?
Huh.
Yeah, you did say 10 royals or approximately 25 groupies, 9 florins equals 72. I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I see that it has a value in there, so I may be able to just go ahead and add that. Wonder if yeah. We'll figure that out later. That might be helpful.
Might confuse things even more.
Well, I'm wondering if does it display that in the inventory?
Either currency, real, shillings, stability.
It's there, but I don't see it doesn't show the value, so I don't know if having the value there will actually help. I wonder what it's for.
I seem to recall there's a way to convert. So there's like a, one click and it'll convert and stuff.
Interesting.
Well, you could always just say 1 real is equal to so many gurpies, and then so many pesos is equal to point something value of
Aren't
gurpy
you
or whatever.
listening?
Well, I've already
Yeah.
got all
Gurpies
that
don't
stuff
matter.
Well,
I've already
I
got
know.
all that stuff on the spreadsheet, so I'm not worried about figuring out the conversion. It's just I don't think it'll do it inside Fantasy Grounds unless we set that up, and I don't know exactly how that works. Maybe it'll be helpful, maybe it won't. We'll find out. All right. Another thing going on here that you noobs will be interested to know is I am using the rules from Pyramid 3103 setbacks stability, specifically from the Mad as Bones article. Basically, that means you have sanity points and you can lose them and maybe go nuts.
Let's get nuts.
We actually have a way to track that. On the
You do.
fact
In
sheet.
fact, I've already gone through and added that on your sheets.
Oh,
along with a spot for bennies and stuff.
neat. I see. I can take that off my inventory list or currency.
Indeed.
I've been tracking it as currency.
Most of you had.
Okay. Remind me, what's a Benny?
I will get to that.
Reroll.
It's a guy
So-
whose name is Ben.
Basically, when it comes to the sanity stuff, up to this point, it hasn't really been a factor because nobody has lost any sanity points fast enough to have it actually affect you before you go on a sailing trip for a couple of days and have plenty of time to relax and recover that stuff. So it's going to have to get pretty bad before you start really getting into trouble. And
Which
we
pyramid?
haven't seen what that does yet.
Now, is it for sanity recovery? Is it a specific thing that we have to do, or is it just, like in some
No.
other game? In some other games, it's like, oh, your sanity is recovered by doing some kind of thing that your character enjoys.
I don't know what game
like,
you're talking about.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
I was originally I wanted to incorporate the Night's Black Agent stuff, but I decided that was going to be a little more complexity than we really needed here. But basically, what it
One
does,
in every board for me. That's
you
how I
gain
record
one
my
back
sessions.
for every 10 minutes spent of doing work that would be considered routine and nothing more complicated. Which is why when you're at sea, you're pretty much going to wipe out most of that.
The boredom would drive me insane.
That is another matter. All right. So, at this point, what I am going to do is get everybody to do their roles. And what I want to do is I want to do them individually, not have everybody start chucking dice out there. So I have to clamber over everything. And I realize you're going to do that right away.
What?
All right, so I'll just go by my list here, and the first one I have on here is Article's secret role. So I'm going to need 12 of those
No.
in the box.
No.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Totally gonna drive everybody crazy. 6, 7, 8, 9,
Rolls.
10. And he's totally doing this in different languages. 11, 12. How many languages do I speak? Could I have done that? 1, 2.
All right. Yeah. Better
Damn,
now
I
than
needed
later.
one more. I needed one more language, and I could have done that in different languages all through it.
Fuck. Can't use tab for this. Okay. 1, 2,
I don't think you can use
3,
tab for that.
What I need is somebody to read these off for me.
It doesn't come up. I could just randomly throw out numbers if you want me to.
Let's not. All right. And now I need the same thing for the treasure map. 12 rolls.
Okay. I don't have a thing for that.
And that would be me.
No.
Oh wait, yeah, I guess I do.
Still Spencer. You can. Oh, do you have one? Okay.
This seems new.
What seems new?
The treasure rolls? I don't remember what those were for.
Yeah, you guys might. I think at the beginning, I wasn't having you guys roll them. I think I was having you roll them during the session. I don't remember exactly now.
He was doing it wrong.
All right, next is Claude. I have a secret first. 12 rolls. Now you can just roll 3d6 because I can figure out whether it matters or not.
Okay. Is that enough?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. Oh no, I got that wrong. Okay, and now for Claude's treasure map, 12 more.
Okay. Okay, that should be 12.
All right, you are good. Now I need Divino to make some rolls, and he's not here.
So we're going to say he fails every single time because he's not here.
That's no fun. Hayden, I need a treasure map rolls for you, so 12 rolls.
Done.
All right, that's you. I need enemies for Randall.
He's coming for you, Randall.
Oh, I know.
And he's French, so he doesn't know pity and he doesn't know remorse. Or something like that. Is he the only one that has an enemy? I mean,
I think that was
official.
all. Oh, you're doing that. Oh. See, you got ahead of me. No, he's not. Actually, Divino has an enemy. He's
Yeah, but
got
he
a
doesn't
Monster
count.
of the Week enemy.
He doesn't count because he's not here, so.
All right, now I got to go dig that back. All right, where'd you start with the treasures? There. Okay.
You didn't expect that, Mark wouldn't do that, would you?
I mean,
Of all
it's
the
all
people, I
there
would
in order.
be less surprised. That's true. That could have been worse.
I mean, I
mean,
did to make sure that they were in order, so they weren't like, oh, 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, make it hard on you.
You're losing your touch then.
I know, But it's session 0. I gotta build up my annoying habits against on Daniel over time.
Did you roll one too many?
Probably. He can't add. He was in the Air Force. Now, I can hear Mark trying to work out that logic.
Yeah, there's a divide by 0 overflow. Funny enough, the person that Claude stole that skull from is actually my enemy.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we had discussed originally, whether or not she should have an enemy. And we'll get to character modifications if you actually want to make that. But at this point, Monsieur Boissonade does not actually know, at least for certain, that Claude is the one that stole the skull. Otherwise,
'cause
he would
he's
be
a
very interested
dumb
in getting it
Frenchman.
back.
Who has
All
no
right.
video remorse?
Next is
Exactly.
Buck
Poor
Rogers. I need a 12
in the-
rolls for his treasure map.
He's clearly in the wrong century.
Yeah, he's in this 18th and a half century right now.
So obviously, this character is an ancestor of the Buck that we know.
Clearly.
Easy peasy.
And he's very British.
So
That should be it.
unless you can't add, can you add?
All right. That is all of you guys. Okay. Now, we have one more thing to clear up for bunches of rolls. And this has got to do with Sir Randall.
What about Hayden's death checks?
Those are going to happen when they happen.
Isn't it
I've
like
actually got all
monthly or
the-
something?
Yeah, it's once a month, and I've got them all marked on the calendar.
And he's already died. We're actually interacting with a zombie.
So, Sir Randall,
Ruh-roh.
he spent 6 months on Jamaica
Right.
before the campaign actually started. So, we need a count of how many special friends he had during that period.
One in every
Um,
port, you whore.
I know, right?
So, at least one.
Actually, Jamaica. Wait, Jamaica is where? Port Royal? Wait, I started
That's where
writing a
he
list
started.
of names. Hold on.
Yeah, I've got
he
the list.
He has a trophy list.
What are you
Great.
talking about? Well,
I've got the list.
Marie.
You scumbucket.
I have Marie, the noble girl in Port-au-Prince, I guess. Port-au-Prince, or I've got Harriet, the textile merchant in Barbados. Hey, look at that! He's got me some lists.
Maybe it'll be
Lord.
easier if you just start with the ports where you don't have someone.
Right. Let's see. You said I was there 6 months. Let's see.
Well, here's what I
No.
was going to suggest: is roll a 1d6 and
Kind of what I was thinking.
plus or minus risk. So more risky, you can add up to 3. Less risky, you can take away up to 3.
I'm not sure I can be counted as. I'm not sure if we want to be counted as your friend. I mean, come on, man.
Okay, I
Keep it in your pants.
Hey.
I may have to come up with
What's
some
interesting
medical.
though is I am not a lecher.
That is funny.
Uh-huh.
That Rogers is the lecher, but he doesn't have this list.
Right.
Right.
You're gonna have to make up for the previous player.
Oh, I see. See. Booyah.
That's downright disappointing.
Hold
Okay,
on.
so you just
Let me try this. Nope. Just the
All right,
one.
so just the one.
But I, almost said the L word.
Lesbians?
Don't know how that happened. Okay. There is the one that was in Bus Terror, but we don't have a name for that one.
Yeah, I don't have a name for her either.
The other
Murray.
place we need to
Is
check
that the one in St. Kitts? Is Bus
Yes,
Terror St.
St.
Kitts?
Kitts.
Okay.
You're missing an Alice, and you're missing a. Let's see.
Hold on. I'm gonna.
I don't
And a
remember if we
Sophia.
actually did that.
Yes. Hold on.
All right. Well, according to what you had notes-wise, I didn't have anything for you in Bus Terror, but I don't remember if he actually explored while he was there. But
I don't even know how
Nassau,
long we were.
you were there for a week waiting for Rogers and Bold to recover from their wounds. So he definitely would have
and
had time to explore there.
Yep, and for sure within the upper crusts.
Well, there's not a lot of upper crust in Nassau, but never mind that.
Well,
Ew, gross.
So, how many in Nassau?
All of them.
And only a few weeks, probably.
No, only 1 week. Less than a week, technically. So you just want to declare a hard one, or you want to
Well, I'm going to try.
take a chance on that?
You said.
Okay, so what I was going to do is I was going to give you a rate of fire on that. So that would be, if you go with a rate of fire of 3, that's going to be two special friends in Nassau.
Sure, there we go.
You are a slut.
All right. So what's the total then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. I need 7 rolls into the box.
What?
3d6.
This will be great. You're going to fail all of those. Every time you come back, there's going to be somebody going, hey.
I'm going to be like Attila the Hun.
Hey, Daddy.
How many rolls?
7.
Phil put you up to this, didn't he?
No, this was my idea.
This is his idea. He mentioned it to me, and it made me laugh.
And that's all of them.
You man whore.
Ah.
All right, let me write down the results.
And the results are pregnant, 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 pregnant with quadruplet. Wow.
See, to
and
keep everyone
don't
in.
forget the STD chart.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, unfortunately, he would have been showing signs of some of that if it had occurred before now.
I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about this.
Okay, the results have been recorded.
Does the GM have an evil laugh?
Maybe. Who knows?
By
All right, so-
2023, everyone in the
Kingston is
Bahamas.
predominantly English.
Do it?
Kingston is predominantly English.
Yeah.
All right, so I need an English name.
Alice.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
right.
Alice. Just go straight Alice for Kingston. Make
Okay.
it easy.
Where'd I put that then?
Santo Domingo is predominantly what?
That's Spanish. That was your night to
Sophia.
remember.
Oh, that's the one where, but I don't know her name. Well, maybe I do.
Yeah, you don't remember her name. Maybe she remembers yours.
Right?
Her
So I don't
name
remember her.
is Jack.
Their
So you got
names
two
should
in
all be
Nassau
Alice.
and one in St. Kitts, and
No,
those
the
are
night
both going to be English.
Night to remember is Bob. That's his name.
Okay, so Bastier is predominantly what?
Yeah, those are all of them are English. All the rest
Okay.
of them are English. Just kind of got lucky that way, I guess.
You said
That,
lucky.
yeah.
Good gravy. Here we go. Rose will be in Bastier.
Good Lord.
And then we'll add a. No one's French. Maybe there was a French woman in Nassau.
Easy
Blanche.
enough. There's plenty of them around.
And then we'll do Dorothy in Nassau as well.
So be it.
And
No
now
one's picked-
Daniel's going to break off the random mutation tables.
And no one's
All right.
picked up on the names.
No, we did. We just rolled our eyes and ignored you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so next thing we need to take care of here is future plans for the expedition. So,
Well, apparently Randall is going to have to marry a bunch of people and find money for paternity suits.
So if you refer back to the map here, you see the magenta line is where you guys have plotted so far, which ends going toward Mexico and Campeche in
So
specific.
then I guess that would have been brought up with the crew.
I'm assuming it was
Because if we've already put it on
the.
the charts, then I think we did.
So there are a number of locations that have been identified so far that are not currently on the itinerary, and I will mention those. One of them is Old Providence, which is here. And that one is for Hayden.
Yeah, but he'll be dead before we get there.
Yeah, maybe.
I wonder if we should circle them with our own colors.
Well, you could, if you like.
Oh, God, you just gave Mark permission to do that.
Well, technically,
fool.
somebody other than Mark has to do that one. Specifically, Brian. So another one is okay. That one is actually the only one that is definite. That is a definite location. Now, when it comes to Claude, we have not really dealt with Claude's situation up to this point because the player went away, and so the treasure map went away. Well, Claude was not idle in that time, in the last month and a half. So what will have been happening is that
Nothing.
she was sort of taking that pull toward the other skull, and as you guys were progressing through the Caribbean, triangulating where that pull is pointing. taking the opportunity of all the training, the navigation training you guys have been doing, and referring to the maps and such. And by this point, he has identified the potential location as somewhere around this area here. So,
Okay.
that combined with the dreams that she has been having in the interim of a white old man, white guy, and a very European, not it doesn't look Spanish. The construction of the places that you were seeing don't look Spanish. So at some point you're going to have a discussion about this stuff, and you are going to actually narrow down that it's most likely either Curacao or was it Aruba or Bonaire, one of these Dutch islands here, but more than likely Curacao. It's just the biggest place there. So that is another location that you guys have, and it is a bit less definite at this point. Now, the other side of that is in game, Claude hasn't talked about it. So I'm bringing this up at this point so the players know, but at some point in the near future, the characters are actually also going to know and can add that to the itinerary.
Yeah, because what is it? Serendipitously, I'll need to go there too.
Possibly. Who knows? I was going to get to you in a bit, but we'll get to you in a bit. I have two other locations that have been discussed. One being Santiago de Cuba on behalf of Divino, who,
Who?
yeah, you know that guy. The priest that he shot in Jamaica.
He shot a priest.
Had fought the voodoo guy in somewhere around Santiago de Cuba. That's really all he knows about the situation, and I don't know if he actually plans to go investigate that or not. I don't know
Probably
that
not.
he has a real reason to, so I don't expect that, but it's on the list of places that's been mentioned. The other one is Grand Cayman, which is here, I believe. And that was, yeah, this map is a little weird about Grand Cayman. Is that actually? It's around there somewhere. Oh, wait. Is that up there? Yeah, this map has it a little closer to Cuba. That's why it's weird. For you noobs, this is an actual period map, by the way.
Yes, indeed.
Florida
And so
lost
it
some
is.
weight in the interim.
It's rife with inaccuracies.
What are you talking about? It's totally accurate. Florida just lost some weight.
Just so you know, I have the real map on the backside, so I'm keeping track of where things really are. But this is what the player or the characters know. Anyway, so Grand Cayman was mentioned, or deduced, I should say, from Dora. So she had recovered the watch, the pocket watch of her former captain, and the guy who had it said that he bought it from somebody in Grand Cayman. So that's another place that has been mentioned, but nobody's necessarily got a real reason to go there.
Well, Dora might.
She hadn't said anything, but then again, she can't talk.
She can't say anything.
So, besides that, I basically wanted to put it to you guys and ask if there's anywhere that you wanted to go other than those, so we can start planning ahead on that.
I have no preference.
Well, having seen Ned and the others, I'm curious of what our timetable looks at, like heading to trying to keep ahead of both Ned and Bons Bonsignad.
Boissinade.
Yeah, because he
Boissinade-
doesn't want to write the thing.
Boissinade left Nassau about the day before you guys left for Harbor Island. So they've already got a head start going toward Campeche, and you've got no reason to believe that they don't know about that. So you're assuming they're going to get there ahead of you, but they also don't actually have the compass.
Right.
But they've got the dude with the eidetic memory. So
They got the
might
dude
not
with the eidetic memory.
Need the compass.
They don't have the compass, and they don't have the journals.
Right.
So it's going to take them
Are
longer
you
to piece
sure?
everything together, as far as you know, anyway. And as far as Ned Long, you don't even know how he got there.
Oh, that's true. I mean, Ned's got me kind of wigging out a little bit.
Yeah, so
Put
if
a-
you wanted to do something with that, you guys are probably going to be passing by Nassau to some degree or another on your way to Havana, but you don't actually have a reason to stop there again, and you don't know if he's going to be there or not.
Well, I would say Havana resupply, or my vote would be Havana resupply and head to Campeche.
Right, but you don't have anywhere else you want to go.
Not immediately, other than chasing down the swiper.
And this isn't necessarily in character here either. If this is kind of a player thing, if the players just happen to want to see someplace, I don't necessarily expect that that's true. But I guess the other place that hasn't been mentioned yet to the characters, but will eventually be on the itinerary, is going to Brazil, to the Amazon. So you guys are going to take a very long trek down the coast.
I want to go to Chichen Itza in Mexico.
Well, we got to go to Campeche.
You are going to see plenty of Mayan ruins.
I'm going to fight undead Mayans.
I'm not going to promise you that. All right. Well, I'll assume nobody has anything else and move on for the time being. You guys can be thinking about that.
Can we?
You should be. Okay, so one other thing to mention about that is anything beyond Campeche is not going to be considered part of the original itinerary. So that ends there. And that is what you prepared for. So that's what your prep points that you have are for.
Now, if we swing past and Claude's plotting puts us really close to where she needs to go, I'm sure we can easily divert.
Yeah.
Swing by, and all of a sudden there's an island, like points to an island that's, hey, right over there. Then,
yeah, I'm expecting there can be diversions from time to time, as there already have been when you went to Harbor Island. That wasn't a part of the original itinerary. But what's going to happen is once you get to Campeche, then you're going to have to plan the next part of the itinerary again, since you haven't planned for anything beyond that yet.
my guess would be at least a return to a major city or port a la Havana, and then on.
Nope, we need to go to Brazil, Rio de Janeiro.
Well, there is the Grand Cayman for your character, or that's your character, right?
That was Dora.
Doris Grand Cayman. So,
I'm playing it very hard.
I mean, depending on how the
a lot of people like
currents flow and the winds blow.
Well, this isn't something that needs an immediate answer. Just wanted to get people thinking about it. So, some changes from season 1. One of the things that I realized as I was considering all this stuff is that, given the nature of this campaign, really the campaign bad guy isn't an individual so much as it is life in general and the system or whatever. So one of the things that I have decided is that I really need to hit you more often with life problems relating to the sea. So
Like mer people.
the noobs will not really notice this, but if I hadn't gotten said this now, you might think that I'm starting to pick on people or something like that. No, this is kind of a part of let's call it a ramping up of the difficulty level a little.
Well, that's gonna suck, poor Red, isn't it?
It could. So part of that is going to be with the charts. So as my understanding of nautical matters has increased over time, you guys are not going to have super detailed charts about every place you're going or every place in the Caribbean. So my assumption at this point is that this itinerary that you see here, you have gotten the necessary charts that you need to get in and out of these places. But after that, you won't have those specific charts anymore. So for example, you would not have had specific charts for Harbor Island. And Harbor Island, as it turns out, is really difficult to get in and out of. That'll come up later.
So that would sound like we would need charts for Havana for sure.
You're probably going to need. So from this point on, I am going to be bringing up the question of whether or not you have, whether or not you need to hire a pilot to get in and out of a particular harbor, and the chances are you're going to need to do that more often. Havana doesn't look like it's all that difficult to get in and out of, but you'll at least need some heads up on some particular qualities of the area. I'm going to assume, again, if it's on this itinerary, that you've already taken care of that. Or at
Gotcha.
least you can use a planning point to cover it. So charts, pilotage, that is a thing. For example, going in and out of Harbor Island, you will have to have had a pilot guide you in and out of there because that's tough. Another thing that I'm going to be doing is every time you go to port for any length of time and don't stay on the ship, there is going to be a chance of catching some kind of con crud.
Yeah,
'Cause
we're all gonna
I
die.
haven't been beating you over the head with that lately, so don't be
what?
surprised if I start making you make
Illness.
health checks when you
Oh,
depart.
illness check.
And
I'll
the
just
only
wear a mask. We'll just wear
Yeah.
masks.
that'll protect you entirely.
That's right. We're gonna see the thing
Oh, yeah.
flash up.
Oh yeah, died of dysentery. Did you know that they're redoing? There's a graphical redo of Oregon Trail.
Yes.
The other thing I'm going to adjust a little bit is with regard to the sanity thing, is that I wanted to make being on the ship a really long time some kind of factor there. I haven't decided exactly what the mechanics of that are going to be, but basically, on a really long voyage, it's going to be you're going to build up some of those sanity points issues.
Hey, remind me. I know it's not for GURPS, but that big traveler campaign adventure, Deep Space Revelation, actually has something about that. That I can share that. Maybe you can go. Oh, I can read this.
Maybe. Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt to look at it anyway. All right, so those are the only specific things that I know of right now that I'm planning on tweaking. Everything else should stay the same.
Good. Well,
And there was a bit that I completely forgot to do with the noobs.
why'd you do that?
Specifically for Nosh, but also for Melissa a little bit. On the wiki, when I do a campaign, I have a tendency to try to record the house rules and optional rules and stuff that I'm going to use, because I know Nosh asked about that before, and so that is on the wiki.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty.
Wiki.
And I should point you to it.
Probably might be a good idea.
Right.
Crew fatigue. That's what it was called.
And the reason I was thinking about that was because Mel had asked about bennies. So you, Mel, are familiar with the plot points, because I know we've used plot points before in the prior campaigns. Those are mostly going to work the same way, except I'm not doing general purpose plot points. They're just for preparations, voyage preparations, or tactics, or specific situations like that. So they're not going to be a get out of death free card.
Okay, gotcha.
But for Nosh, I do have some. There are some write-ups about the our plot point usages, and I know it's been a little confusing the couple of times that that's come up, but it is written down. And feel free to pester me about it if you need explanations.
Righto.
When it comes to bennies, however, that was devised as an interim step between nothing and plot points. And bennies are a +1 to a die roll, or a -1 if that's more appropriate. And that's it. It can be applied before the die roll, or after the die roll, or to any die roll in the process. Like if you're fighting and you got your attack roll and your defense roll and your damage roll, it could apply to any one of those. You can use as many as you got. And I can't remember if I decided to let people donate them, but that's another matter. But that's basically it. So when you do stuff that I like as GM, I'm going to give you a Benny. And you get that as
When
a
he
+1
remembers.
whenever you decide you need one in a pinch.
When he remembers.
When we remember.
So is it per session, or do like once you use them, that's it for the entire
It's
campaign?
one and done.
Okay.
Now, on your character sheet, Melissa, you've been out long enough that you probably aren't aware of it. The main page, there is now a resources tab on the little mini
Yeah.
box there.
Yeah, I see it.
And you'll have a bennies under the resources. And I think I have you at 3 right now because the previous owner never used them. And I also needed to get you to make some kind of preparation roll for the journey, and I don't recall. Probably seamanship. Yeah. go ahead and make a seamanship roll. Let's see how
Okay.
many prep
In the
points
box
you
or
get. Open's fine. Okay, so you will get 1.
is that the personal prep?
Yeah, it's fighting me. Or are you editing at the same time?
I wasn't changing anything, but I am on
Oh,
the tab.
oh, that's weird. By default, the maximum value is set to 0. That doesn't make any sense. Well, that could be a problem on some of these others. Huh. So noted. Yeah, so that is a plot point that you can use for a reroll or for like a gizmo thing where you want to say I had this thing that I brought along that I didn't actually put on my character sheet because I wasn't here for it. Okay, and I think Rogers should have some already.
What's the LTFP?
That is long-term fatigue. So
Okay.
that's just a place to track that separately. All right. That was the rules thing. So at this point, characters. So the plan is everybody has gotten up to this point, with the exception of Claude, 12 character points over the campaign. We are doing slow progression, by the way, so it's 1 per session. FYI. And what I have decided to do is give everybody some bonus points for the end of the campaign, and we're going to round that up to 15. So basically, everybody's going to get 3 more points.
Shiny.
Bearing in mind that you guys spent a week in Nassau, basically not doing anything. So there is plenty of time to learn how to do something.
Does that 3 include Claude or no?
I'm
okay if not.
I figured I'd leave that up to you, I guess, whether or not you were fine with starting over or starting where you are. Or
I'm totally fine with starting where she is.
Okay. Then I will let you stay there and you basically start fresh.
Yeah, it looks like she's got 1 unspent point.
I think
So,
that was from the session that she played.
Yeah.
I'll let you have that since it's there.
Thanks.
So, I will allow everyone to make tweaks to the character at this point, as long as those tweaks aren't affecting something that has already occurred in game. So, for example, you can't suddenly decide you speak Spanish if this whole time you've been avoiding Spanish-speaking people because you don't speak Spanish.
I could have taught him.
There are ways around that, and I'm flexible. But so I will be allowing some adjustments. When it comes to Claude and Rogers, you guys have a lot more leeway in that regard. Rogers has actually been played, so we've seen him in the campaign, and we know you kind of need to stay pretty close to what has already occurred, within reason. Claude, on the other hand, has a little more flexibility in that regard. So
Be fine.
These characters no longer belong to their former players. They belong to you now, so they're yours. Feel free to adjust things to your taste, especially quirks, because quirks are meant to be changed all the time anyway. And in that regard, some specifics about Lieutenant Rogers. So, when the character was originally designed, there was some kind of talk about him being a British spy, and I don't think that was ever actually codified, at least not in the character. So he doesn't have a duty to anything. He doesn't have a patron. He doesn't have a mission, for example. We never actually dealt with any of that stuff. But the fact that he was a spy or is a spy has been sort of discussed in games. So it is kind of a thing. So I'm going to consider that he is actually a spy.
Or he used to be a spy until he got burned.
That means that he will have a mission and he will need to report to people and that sort of thing. However, I believe I actually forbade the use of duty specifically so we don't have a Lord Quest Giver to answer to. So I'm going to be handling that sort of on a story basis as far as your requirements go.
Okay.
But FYI, every now and again, you're going to encounter something that you may have to respond to. Now, you can adjust your traits accordingly if you like. So there were some things that happened in game with him, and in this vein, when he was going to the body house in Port-au-Paix, what I have retroactively decided is that that was not just a tourist thing. That was an assignment. He was told to go to the body house and meet a contact, which happened to be Wilhelmina Deering.
All right.
And that sort of thing may occur again. There is another thing that I don't believe is on his character sheet anywhere, and if you haven't, actually, if you haven't watched any of the playbacks, you're probably not going to know at all.
You're married.
Not that. That wasn't real. Rogers had a thing, or rather, Rogers' former player had a thing where he would, anytime we went to a port, he would basically stand at the docks, and he wouldn't go into town and do stuff with everybody else. He would stand at the docks and watch stuff. The way he used to say it, he's just people watching. He's watching the ships come and go and that sort of thing. So as a result of the whole spy thing, I've decided that once again, this is not random. This is intentional. This is his job.
Alrighty.
So something that will probably need to be added to his inventory at some point is a logbook. And he is probably going to be taking notes at every port that he goes to and writing down all the names of the ships and all the important events and that sort of thing that he's witness to. This book may become important because it could be stolen.
Okay.
One other thing is tradecraft. So the one thing that skill that Rogers is kind of missing is tradecraft skill. We typically do that as a professional skill, and so it's professional skill, spycraft, tradecraft, whatever you want to call it. But that is going to be his go-to skill for stuff that doesn't already have a skill associated with it, like doing dead drops and how to handle spy work. So you got bonus points and you also have leave to make adjustments to the character. Therefore, I highly recommend that you add that as a skill.
Okay.
And if you are the reading sort, I thought you might look into this fellow. This is a guy who did some world travel. Part of Roger's background is that after he left the Navy, that he actually traveled the world. He basically circumnavigated. This guy did that, and it took him about 5 years.
Okay.
And so that's probably a good example of how his journey might have gone.
All right.
Unless he lied the entire time and he didn't.
Well,
do
he
that.
could have. Now, as far as the rest of the story elements around the whole Buck Rogers thing and all that, you're going to be at liberty to embellish as you see fit. There, don't feel like you got to stick with anything. Are you are familiar with the Buck Rogers stuff though? Question
Yeah,
mark.
I am. Question mark. Yeah.
Okay. So if I throw some stuff out there, you're going to get it.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Okay. As I've already mentioned, Killer Kane and Ardala. Are you more familiar with the TV show or more familiar with the actual material that inspired it?
Oh, the TV show.
Yeah, me too, mostly, but I've started to try to work in some of the rest. Anywho, so next character is Claude. So I mentioned the whole thing about the skull and the pulse. So as I said, he will have been triangulating and is at some point going to figure out that it's probably in the vicinity of or at Curacao. And I mentioned the old man. She keeps seeing this old man in the dream, and sometimes they actually interact. Like they'll talk, and she'll ask him questions, or he'll ask her questions, or something. But she's always aware that he's got the other skull somewhere.
It's his
Alrighty.
goal.
And yeah, so what I want you to do at this point is, since Claude wasn't here to act, or the Claude's player wasn't here to actually bring it up in game, one of the first things that you need to do is actually bring it up in game, so the rest of the PCs can get in on the whole skull trip.
If she wants to.
If she wants to. Now, she may only be comfortable talking to Dr. Spencer about it, or she may be willing to go to the rest of the crew. I don't know. Rogers still hasn't talked to anybody about the painting, because I guess he hadn't decided yet that he was ready to talk to everybody about it.
Plus, he's a spy.
You guys would
I
Also,
don't
he's a
trust
spy.
nobody.
She would also be aware that Randall's all about treasure hunting. Like,
Yeah.
give him a lead, and he will like follow it doggedly.
Yeah, getting them to go along with it will not be a problem.
Sounds good. I have some ideas about what I want to do with that.
Okay. Yeah, and for both you and Nosh, let me know what changes you're going to make to the characters, and I'll give you some guidance if you need it.
Righto.
Let's see other character stuff. So I already asked about Campeche. I had talked to Ethan before about whether or not he had Divino had started researching that journal, and he thought that he had, but I don't know if we actually said that in game. Oh yeah, more Claude stuff. So I had put in the notes here for whether or not Claude had actually stolen anything, because he's a kleptomaniac.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I don't know how I'd want to handle that. I guess there have been a number of ports where you guys have visited, and he will have had plenty of opportunity to steal stuff. So he may have a little cache somewhere. And I don't know. We can just kind of wing that. If you want to say something is something you stole, then I don't know. We can work with it. I guess what you can do is if you want to add some equipment or something like that, let me know and we'll just kind of work it out. The other thing about Claude was whether or not at these ports that you guys have been visited, whether or not he had been trying to locate Philip. Are you familiar with that part of the story?
No, I'm actually not.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Eskrima thing?
Oh wait, there was somebody that she learned from. I
Yeah.
don't know that I knew the name.
Yeah, so she had picked up Eskrima in France from a Filipino guy named Philip. And he had supposedly gone to the Caribbean, and that's why Claude went this way.
Okay.
So I was expecting for the player to be asking around about that during your guys' travels, and that didn't happen for obvious reasons. So it's up to you whether or not that has been occurring. And if it has, that may change some things. And I had one other question about Claude, that whether or not Claude was recording the dreams. And I can't remember whether Claude is actually literate.
Hang on.
No, it
Yeah,
appears not.
I didn't think she could write.
Well, that answers that question. Okay, and the last character question I have on my notes to clear up is Spencer regarding his next step. So he talked to the witch in Port-au-Pay. She told him about the book and about
Right.
a little bit about Geoffroy, and he learned a little more about the book from Geoffroy. But other than that, he doesn't know where to go to find the other two copies.
No, he does not.
So there are two sides of this. One, the character, is he trying to figure out where to go?
Probably yes, when he can
Okay.
focus on it.
If
I
he is
figure
trying to figure out where to go,
Well, I figure
then-
the absent-minded probably kicks in and he'll forget about it for a couple days and then go, crap, I need to focus on this.
well, it's a good excuse to not have done anything yet.
Right.
But the other side of it is, where does the player want him to go?
That place in Mexico.
That place in Mexico?
Yeah, that I just mentioned. What the hell's the name I just said?
Chichen Itza.
Yeah, Chichen Itza.
Oh, good God. Why would it be there?
I don't know. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, magicy stuff.
Magic.
Or maybe Brazil. Might even be in Florida.
Right. Well, I was going to suggest that since we had decided, and I don't think I ever actually found where we had talked about it, but the whole thing with the dart, throwing the dart at the map.
Right, yes.
So when he did that before, he was trying to figure out something where he wanted to go and threw the dart, and it hit Port-au-Pay, and he realized that that was peace, and that was that somebody else had mentioned.
Right.
So I thought I would suggest perhaps he's going to do the dart thing again.
Since we adjusted the serendipity to be the coincidence power, it doesn't quite work the same way. I mean, it
True.
still sort of works that way. Basically, I guess technically he just needs to verbalize what he wants. It's like, oh, I need to find the next place and like toss the dart, and the dart lands on the next place because it's
So
now
I
got the
just
serendipity, and it requires him to speak the desire.
so I wanted to throw that out there in case. And if you had some places where you thought you might like to go, then I could attempt to work that in. And who knows? I may throw the Chichen Itza thing in there. You never can tell.
Well, I'm going to look at the definition of some of the translation of some of these place names, see if I can find one that's like,
Oh.
oh yeah.
And that is basically my notes. So at this point, does anybody have any questions, stuff we need to clear up?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Hair is on the top of your head, or you're wearing a hat.
Shut it.
Is there like a layout of the ship? You know, we
Oh,
got the
oh,
picture,
yes.
but like a ship map.
We got lots of that. Probably the easiest thing to do would be to go to the wiki page though, because I've got all the images on the on that ship page,
Oh wow. Is that
which
right?
I will link again for convenience.
Actually, Chichen Itza is a lot closer than I thought it was. That's in
Is it?
here.
Is it?
Yeah.
I was thinking that was farther out.
No, it's like I'm looking at the map, and this is all wrong because this is Merida, whatever is closer, farther over to the coast, and Chichen Itza is like hereish. Bam! That's where the thing goes. Daniel's like, damn it. Okay.
Yeah, actually, that could work. All right. Well.
Oh, you have long
put that in
lines
my
there. It
notes.
could help. Of course, as accurate as this map is, it's going to put it out in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
go to the wiki, and if you look at the map thing, and don't click on it because they're garbage. It has the thing there where that's where it's at.
Right. I thought it was all Mayan in that area, and I thought Chichen Itza was Aztec. But
Chichen
to be
Itza
fair, I
was
don't
a
know the
large
situation
pre-Columbian
that well.
city built by the Mayan and the
Okay.
Maya people. And it's also where the Red Court try to do some bad stuff, and they all die.
They all died.
Well, you're headed that direction, so why the hell not?
Sweet.
So this is one of those diversions that may be happening. Who knows?
Blah,
But he hasn't actually
no
done that
idea
yet,
why
so we will
no
wait.
idea why the why the book is there.
So we'll wait until the game to actually do that. But I'll start working on what I want to do with that.
Right.
Right.
Murder some people.
I was going to
Mayan zombies.
point you guys to a YouTube video since
Oh dear.
someone was asking about the ship. Stop it.
Yeah. I looked at the picture and on the wiki, and I don't understand ship layouts. Is it the berths where everybody sleeps, or is it somewhere else?
Yeah, that will take some explaining. Hang on.
Because basically, I'm assuming because Claudia is trying to hide the fact that she's a girl, and it depends on who she's actually
Right.
around when she sleeps and stuff as to how she behaves.
Where the hell did that video go? Damn it.
It's not there. You're looking at the wrong place.
Well, obviously.
Still the wrong place. Yeah, that's wrong too.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna look for that later, and I'll put it in Discord. It was a walkthrough of the ship.
It's an itty
The
bitty
real
shit.
one. Yeah. So the ship is very small, and the berths. I'll just go ahead and show you that. Where the hell?
The ship assignment map.
Yeah. Which is at the top. Okay, so this actually isn't super helpful, but yeah, this isn't going to tell you what you need to know. Here. So this is the forward compartment, corresponding to there-ish on the other map, assignment map. And you'll note that there are these little cubby holes off to the side. And those are the actual bunks.
Okay.
Oh,
And
this one has bunks, not the hanging hammocks.
yes, these are over under. So apparently, and this was actually brought up in the video that I was going to show you, you don't actually sleep fully reclined or fully horizontal. You actually sit up a little bit, which is why these things are so small.
So it's like Mumbari.
I guess I don't exactly know how that works, but that was their explanation for why they were all really short. But in Claude's specific case, these were a little problematic because it's an enclosed space, but they're not completely cut off. So it doesn't really trigger her phobia.
Okay.
It's just a little uncomfortable. It's a little worse for Davino, who's a really large guy. Now, we had figured out where everybody was sleeping, and on the classic version, people had actually put their little marks on the places that they had reserved. I think it actually is that one, yes.
Yes, but we
Right.
can't move anything.
Can you not?
Nope, not without permission. You have to approve it.
Oh, right. This thing locks it down. I hate that. I'm going to have to get used to that. All right, how do you, where do
It's
you
in
unlock
options? Options.
Is that where it is?
Yep. It's
Token?
prove token movement or something. Nice.
Doc seems to be a little busy.
He's all over the place.
Okay, I am not seeing it. Uh-uh.
So if you unlock the map and then go to the map tools, there'll be a lock tokens checkbox or a toggle.
Okay.
Oh, is it on that?
You told me the wrong thing.
I did, apparently. Well, that's what you get for listening to a dude who hasn't been on Fantasy Grounds in months. So I blame you.
Okay, so back to Claude though. So this ship, however, never mind the bunk situation, does have, and I will show it to you if I can find it. That is really tiny. And not the right one. Ah, here we go. This one, you will note the enclosure there. That is actually the quote-unquote bathroom. It does have a door on it.
That's nice.
So Claude has had a bit of mercy from the universe in that regard. Now, there was mention in game of Article trying to get Dora a place to sleep somewhere near Claude sometime after he found out about Claude's condition. I don't think we ever actually determined where exactly that was because Claude wasn't a player at the time, so we didn't care.
Bam.
Yeah, I think Rogers was over here for some reason, and I don't think I ever got a proper explanation why. You're perfectly fine to move him somewhere else if you like.
We'll give Doc all the animals.
The animals don't get
All
separate
three
bunks.
of the animals.
The animals.
Yeah, that walkthrough video
We're missing
doesn't
somebody.
get everything. It doesn't.
We're
It doesn't
missing
really show you the
Mr.
whole. But
We're missing Bold.
Yeah, where's Bold?
is he not on there?
That's
Nope.
lame, GM. You can't do that. He canceled the apocalypse. Okay, not him, but his descendant is going to cancel the apocalypse.
Not sure how I missed that. But whatever.
Hey, we don't have the hot bunk.
No, there's. Yeah. Well, yeah. Now, if you guys had a full crew, you would be.
Ta-da!
Yeah. So you can see how small it is at this point. And it came with 4 guns. They were 2-pounders, which are super tiny. And you guys got an additional 4 more 4-pounders. And at some point, I wanted to decide where exactly those were going to be. So something to think about, but I hate to make a call like that without Divino and his player being present, he being the master gunner and all. Yeah, that and the readiness of the guns. Because someday it might matter. You never know when somebody's bunch of pirates are going to row up and try to take you on because they think you're small and weak.
Then
Somebody
they die.
Somebody firing the cat out of the cannon.
It does kind of look that way, doesn't it?
Kapoof.
Okay, well, if you watch that video, that will orient you a lot better to the ship. And that is all the stuff I have. So I already went and created the resources for everybody, so we don't have to do that. The only other thing I have on my notes to do here is to talk about potential absences. So I know that we have at least mentioned 2. Mel, you said you were out when?
I know I'm going to have a tardiness. Oh no, that's right. We're not playing this on the 14th. Never mind.
Right.
Stand by. I can look at my calendar though. I don't know if we have any trips coming up.
Okay. For me, definitely the 25th
Of
February.
February? Feb.
Mhm. Maybe the 18th. I will know hopefully a little bit
Okay.
more within the next couple of weeks.
Maybe the 18th of February as well for me.
What's the 18th?
Of February. It's a Saturday.
I am probably going to be getting on a boat, but not one like this. A
That
bigger
makes
one.
me sad
Nice.
in a number of ways because I really want to be on a boat. You going on a cruise?
And the
Yeah.
4th.
Where are you going?
The 4th?
You haven't
Sorry.
got your
Funnily enough, we are going to the Bahamas.
Nice.
What the standard fare? So Nassau, Freeport.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah,
I
that's the
don't
one I
have to-
usually did.
Yeah, I don't have.
I
to
really
feel
want to
like
do
an
that this
attorney.
year. Right, Mark. What was yours? You said maybe 18th.
18 Feb. It could just be a delay. I'll know closer as we get in because I think it's. Oh, hold on. Oh no, it'll be. I think it's going to be. Yeah, I won't be here on the 18th.
Okay. Oh, so you're definitely out.
Yeah, it looks like it's the youth retreat, so it
Oh,
looks like
okay.
it's supposed to be through the 19th, starting on the 17th. So I think
Somebody
it's a
say the
2-day
4th?
thing.
Something.
4th of March, maybe, but that looks like it will only be a delay, if anything. And then there might be a tardiness on. There's a Clued Up Games thing coming up. I'm trying to figure out when that was. But that's really just a delay, if anything.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else got any that you know of?
Nope.
No, nothing that I know of at the moment.
1st of April. April 1st.
I'm so broke I
Okay.
can't pay attention, so
I'll be
not going nowhere.
Okay. Well, that's not bad.
Those are the
Assuming
things
that
obviously
stays that
know.
way. All right. Well, we might be able to get through this without a. Well, it looks like the 18th is probably going to be out. Maybe. I don't know. Last time we had 2 down, I went ahead and played anyway.
How many sessions are you expecting?
So my expectation is going to be 12. I may try to go to 13 just to break my record, but for no better reason other than that.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, I'm not spending any points because I have to build up to get my next magic superpower.
What are you planning on?
True sight.
Right, we already had that discussion. I really don't want you to have that.
Well, if that's the case, then I can look at something else, but that's going to make me super sad and disappointed. I mean,
Ooh.
it could make me crazier.
Who?
Well, I was just thinking, languages. You mentioned that Spencer could teach Spanish.
Well, that not only is article been available to teach Spanish, but you've been to at least one Spanish port for multiple days, and
And
you've been exposed to it plenty.
An article has a teaching skill of 13.
Ah.
And speaks Spanish. Wow, accented? Oh, right. Yeah. I didn't bother improving
Also,
that.
this is the Caribbean, so Spanish is everywhere.
All right. So how do you do it when you? Because you were doing languages a little different.
Oh, what languages do you have?
I have English, French, and Venetian, but I have Venetian at default from French.
Okay, so just remind me later, and I'll check the defaults and see if you get any bump.
Okay.
You may not. You don't have those at particularly high level though, do you?
No, I have French at accented, so I have 4 points in French.
And just so everybody is aware, Spencer speaks all of these at accented, except English, which is native. He speaks Dutch, English, French, Greek, Irish, Gaelic, Latin, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Venetian, and Yiddish.
And Pig Latin.
In case it comes up. So it's like,
Yeah,
oh man, we
never
don't
know.
have that language. Granted, he also has the language talent advantage, so he picks up languages really quickly.
Yeah, do noobs, by the way, we do have spreadsheets. Have a player spreadsheet. I believe there's a link to it on the boards. And we do have the it's not ubiquitous. It's we have the time use sheet on there. So feel free to make use of it.
I forgot we had this. Aha.
Yeah. Oh, also, worth noting, especially for the noobs who are unfamiliar with what's gone on, we do also have the company log on the player spreadsheets, which is basically just a record of everywhere you've been.
Okay.
And some potentially interesting things you did there.
Dora is kidnapped. Oh, you should put Dora swiped.
If I
Dora
had
went
thought of it at the
exploring.
time, I would have done that.
I don't get the reference.
Really?
Really?
I guess of all people, you would not.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Lack of exposure to youth programming.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a movie, the Dora the Explorer movie. Have you not seen that?
What are the chances I'm going to watch that, Mark?
It's kind of one of those filmed where it's like,
No,
oh, it's
that
for
was
kids,
that,
but it's really not.
that was that fake trailer. Fake.
No,
Dora
that was a real
trailer.
movie.
Was it?
Yeah. Hold on. I'll
I don't
get it
remember
here.
a real movie.
It is a real movie. Well, there was the fake trailer one, but there is a real movie.
The fake trailer one was cool.
Oh, well, yeah.
Now I have to start looking and figuring out what my other new ability is, since the GM's getting all. No, I don't want you to have true sight, because then
I
you'll be
didn't
able to
say
figure out
no.
what Dora
I
is.
I said I didn't want you to. I didn't say I wouldn't allow it. I forgot one of the first things I wanted to tell the noobs was, this is Traveler. This is Traveler in the Age of Sail.
1720s.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you think about it like it's Traveler, you'll get the right idea.
There you go, Phil.
So none of these links work for me from chat.
Really?
Is
You
it
have to click on the little triangle.
Oh, I was just clicking on the link.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it's
changed
kinda
how
weird
it
The
like
word
works.
link. Okay, the word link.
Yeah, Mark, I've seen 10 seconds of this, and I'm like, there's zero chance I would watch this movie.
What you don't? Well, the problem is you're not getting that it's a joke. Like all the stuff that us parents had to live through, they're making fun of through the whole thing.
Yeah, so the references to swiping is there was this fox named Swiper who would show up and start trying to steal stuff.
Ooh, there's a weather control power.
Ugh.
Danny Trejo is the monkey. I didn't know that.
Well,
True sight. Right. Let me look at this.
oh right. Nosh, you were asking about the hanger sword.
Yeah, so I saw that you've got the Spadroon on there. So I think I'll swap the cutlass for the
Okay.
Spadroon if I may.
Well, the Spadroon is an army sword.
It's something that I think the naval officers equally carried before it became a standard issue.
I don't remember hearing that it was carried by the Navy, but I can't tell you you're wrong. Well, I mean, I could, but
You might be
I think
wrong
that-
yourself.
even
I think for-
even if that were the case, it could just be that he found the Spadroon at one point and decided he liked it better. Yeah, I don't have a problem. But you just swapped it out.
Yeah, I think I need to take broadsword versus short sword though.
Yeah, so if you need to do that, just switch out your skill. I don't care about that.
Okay.
Although it would be highly likely that he would still have used short sword for cutlass, because at some point he will have. But
Right,
you could use it by default too.
Or I'll just pick up broadsword skill.
Wow, it's like an army service. It's in 1786 that the Spadroon becomes official for a regulation for a army. So that's a ways.
Yeah, some of these are kind of tricky. I know we had that problem with the guns, because a lot of the guns that high tech had and low tech had were from wildly different periods.
There
And
you go. So I'm looking at the wiki. It's like the English term first came in use in the early 18th century, so that's appropriate. Though the type of sword it referred to was in common usage during the late 17th, they were primarily used as a military (parentheses Army and Navy) sidearm in the late 17th and early 18th centuries, and for officers NCOs in the latter part of the 18th and early 19th century. So yeah,
okay, it just didn't start getting used by officers until later.
right.
But yeah, regulations weren't so consolidated at this point. In fact, since you're doing research into stuff like that, this is 1725, and the British didn't become the naval power it was until the 50s. That was when the Articles of War.
Around 1680 to 1720, a great many British military swords took on a form that was finally called the Spadroon. Yep,
So
there
I think
you
he
go.
would, I think he would prefer to have a cut and thrust sword like the Spadroon, versus the cutlass, which I believe was probably given to the ratings.
Well, the cutlass was specifically useful on a ship because it's shorter, which is why the hanger became a thing as well, since it's more or less just a dressed up cutlass. I think the curvature may have been a factor there as well, but because you have to do all this fighting and with low ceilings and with ropes all over the place and crap.
Yes, yeah, no, I
But
understand
yeah,
that.
personal preference. And also, he did a lot of traveling around, so he will have had plenty of experience with other things.
It's true. He should totally not have either of those. He should have the Chinese G. And everybody's like, that is a weird looking sword. He's like, yep.
Well, of all the people that would have something like that, he would be the one.
I got it from the Queen of Japan.
And then you got me running around with a rapier. So I look a little
Oh.
different.
Yeah, speaking of that, you guys have a Skavana, that a very nice one actually, and nobody
now?
at the. I'm working my way over to it. This thing, and at the time, so you got that from Geoffroy. After he left, he let you guys keep it. He more or less expected Randall would use it, but if Rogers were interested in that sort of thing, this was, I believe, fine. And it's technically a broadsword.
Oh, very nice.
So this was basically given to the ship. And as far as I know, it was given directly to Payne. And I think he
Yeah.
was just going to put it up as like a trophy or something.
Yeah. But I mean, if
somebody wanted to
if
use
it
it,
drew
I'm sure
someone's
Payne wouldn't care.
eye, I mean, Payne's not gonna. He's like, oh yeah. I mean, we got this from the guy who, well, we think he got his head cut someone's head off.
No, that was just Randall and Article who saw that.
Yeah.
And Article's not always a
Reliable source.
reliable source.
But
Damn
yeah,
clocks wouldn't shut up.
So stick that one in your hat.
that would be very painful, if not deadly.
Yes.
Right. Well, what else do you need from us? Come on, GM.
Oh, I'm just vamping at this point. We've run out of notes for me, so I'm basically done here, unless you guys have any more stuff you need to talk about.
I think we had determined that Article was going to need 3 books. Is that correct?
There were 3 copies, yeah.
Yeah, because I did have in my treasure map thing on my character sheet. I'd had the first one where, obviously took care of. That was the need to be at a certain place in a certain city in a certain day and a certain hour, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
The second was Chichen Itza to, do that. And then I have noted on there the third is to go to Curacao.
Curacao.
Curacao? I don't know. I can't pronounce this crap. I speak English and bad English. And I know a little bit of German.
I did try to write down the specifics of what everybody knew about their treasure map situation, because that was important. So if you don't know what you knew, I can potentially get that for you.
Oh, there's an astral sword power.
Th-
It could be the focused totality of my magical ability. Oh, it's used just against astral things though. That's too bad. I don't want to fight astral things.
So this one is for Roger specifically.
Pigford Rodney.
All right.
Now that was the guy that was supposed to have lived in Port Royal, but at the beginning of the campaign, you were aware that he had gotten on a ship to Havana, and so that was your plan, was to get to Havana and find him there. That is Pickford Rodney.
Right.
And this was my staggeringly useful treasure map that I gave to the GM. You needed to be at a certain place at a certain time on a certain day at a certain hour to meet a certain person to obtain a certain thing.
Right. Nash, this is that is the place on the boards where he talked about the actual painting and the stuff on it.
Righto.
Boards. What are these?
It's that thing we used to do.
I suppose. Right. Did Ronky go to sleep? I haven't heard him speak in like forever.
Nope, I'm still here.
I thought maybe you went to sleep.
I guess I'll have to get Ethan off to the side and get all his rolls
Rough him up.
and forget to tell him about the extra points.
Well, so I do have a slight question with regards to the sonic powers / magic that we were using.
Right.
I went with the coincidence instead of, to adjust the serendipity, which is part of the probability alteration set powers.
Right.
I don't know in power. And then I ended up also picking up the money clip magnet perk. There is another perk in there that I did contemplate getting, which was called Good Neighbor, which was basically like you bring minor luck to the NPCs around you. Their cars break down less often. They win a little bit more from lottery tickets and so on. This gives you a +1 reaction to anyone who's lived around you and worked around you for like 6 months or so, because they subconsciously realize. But the primary question there is, if the cars break, with the notion of the cars break down less often, would that apply to the boat?
I would have to presume that would be the case.
But this is just a 1-point perk. So how about, how would they, that seems like it would be a bit, more powerful.
Well, it says less often.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I haven't decided to go with that. And I also, there was another one that's like Shopper's Blessing, where it's like, I tend to skip over merchandise that's destined to spoil or break easily. So you save 5% on your cost of living due to reduced maintenance and replacement costs. So I was like, oh yeah, well, if he's the, which it sort of almost seemed to be turning out, where he's the guy that you send to get replacement food and stuff like that. That could be amusing. but obviously haven't done anything. Well, I don't have anything else.
Nosh, do you have any questions at this point?
No, I don't believe I do.
Mark, do you have any questions?
I'm thinking of some, but I don't know if they're relevant to the game.
Yeah, we don't care what the color
Is-
blue tastes like.
Is it how to get out of this chicken shit outfit?
No. Nothing like that.
Brian, do you have any questions?
Negative.
Melissa, do you have any questions?
Nope. I'll if I come up
Not
with
fully
anything, I'll put it-
formulated at this point.
Yeah, if I come up with anything, I'll put it on the Discord or something.
All right. Then I'm going to declare this proceedings done.
Yay!
I don't think we'll bother with the clipping out the recap. That didn't go quite to plan.
Things happen.
It was a good idea, but I really should have processed that a little more.
Record your own.
I could. I don't know if I will, but I could.
You won't. We know that better than that.
Well, you could. It'd be really easy to edit into the video since there's nothing special happening on screen.
True.
Yeah, you can record your own. You can make a Indiana Jones sort of montage with the travel thing. I think you should do it. You can have that done by tomorrow, right?
Yeah, but see, if I do that, I'm going to set a precedent. And now you're going to have to do that next time you're
Ah,
on
hell no.
Monster Hunters.
Hell.
And
to
you
the
know what
no.
music it's going to have.
Yeah. Carry On by Kansas. No, Wayward Son. That's the name of it.
Wayward Son. Carry on, my wayward son.
Yeah, but the song is actually Wayward Son. Right, yeah. Derp. My mistake, someone else's fault. Cool. Adjustment's not a terrible
All right.
idea.
Thanks, everyone. It was good.
So the plan will be Conan next week, possibly Conan the week after that, and then
Nope.
this.
We're all gonna die next week. Except for
Or that.
Balder. He'll survive and leave.
Maybe it's Boulder that kills everyone.
Well, they shouldn't have turned evil.
Maybe he turned evil. Everybody
Cool.
thinks they're the hero of their own story.
All right.
All righty. Hey, we'll catch you all next week.
Good night, stream.
All right. Next week.